I'm Todd Votz, agronomist with Channel Seed, coming to you from a soybean field near Lanesboro, Minnesota, which is located in the extreme southeastern part of the state of Minnesota. Just wanted to spend a little bit of time here this morning talking about white mold in soybeans. Really right now we are at one of the more favorable times for white mold infection or development to occur. Soybean field that I am in happens to be at the R2 stage, basically full flower. It's got flowers all the way up and down the soybean plant. This is typically the stage in which white mold can infect your soybean plant. We've also recently just received a fairly substantial amount of precipitation across the geography over the last 24 to 48 hours. So we have a wet environment. And then finally the forecast is also looking more mild temperature in the 70s and lower 80s, as well as continued chances for precipitation. All factors, as you look at the disease triangle, can help contribute to white mold development. First of all, you'd have the presence of the pathogen if you have sclerotia in your soil, which is if you've had white mold history in a particular field. You have the host, the soybean plant, which most soybean varieties have some susceptibility to white mold, but proper selection of soybean varieties is extremely important, as particular soybean varieties such as Channel 2020 R2X is a product that has very good tolerance to white mold. And then finally, again, the environment, which I talked about being more moist and moderate in temperature, are all favorable to white mold development in that sense. So what do you do from here? Well, first of all, you can help determine what your risk is in your particular geography. Highly recommend using the Sporecaster app, which is developed by Dr. Damon Smith and others at the University of Wisconsin. So I'd highly encourage you to go online, download that particular app. I'll walk through that in a few more minutes through this video to show you how you can utilize it. Helps to gauge the risk that you have in your particular geography for white mold. If your risk happens to fall into that medium and especially in the high category, then it's highly recommended that you go in with other management strategies such as the use of a foliar fungicide. And in our situation, we highly recommend the use of Delaro fungicide at the 7 to 11 ounce rate to help manage the white mold risk in your particular field. Now that we're back in the office, where the air conditioner is working well and we don't have any gnats and mosquitoes bugging us, we can spend a little time going through the Sporecaster app to help determine any risk that might be in any particular field that you're working with. So of course, first of all, go to the location depending on the type of phone that you have to download the Sporecaster app, which again was developed by Damon Smith and others at the University of Wisconsin. And again, just put in Sporecaster, should be able to locate it and download it on your device so that you can run through the different scenarios. So once you get it loaded, this is what it's going to look like. You can enter new fields. If you've entered fields already, you have the field list that you're going to go through. And then also at the bottom it has the help and the info button, which goes through and does a really good job of explaining the different ins and outs of how the app works, the different parameters that go into creating the risk factors for white mold in any particular field. You can go ahead and hit a new field, and we'll give this field name with the location where we're at here in Lanesboro, Minnesota. You can pick the row spacing. We're on 30-inch rows. Irrigation, we are not irrigated, and it'll generally locate exactly where you're at. And if you're standing in the field, or if you want to select a different location, you can go ahead and zoom out, and then you can long press on that particular location to pick the field that you're going to go through. So even if we were close where we're at, we can hit a field that's close by, go back up to the top and hit done. And then down in the notes section, if you want to hit any notes, you can type that in, and then again go back up to the top and hit done. So in this situation now, we have back to where we can actually run the model. So the forecast date here on July 10th, but if you hit on that date itself, you can actually go back and run forecast for previous dates as well. I believe you can also run a forecast for a couple of days into the future. But for the present, we'll just go off of today. You can hit allow automatic field refresh. We'll hit that as a yes. And then we'll go ahead and hit run model. Oh, I forgot to hit the flowers are present. Row closure, if the row closure is greater than 50% row coverage and over, you can hit over on that. And then we'll go ahead and hit run model. So in this particular situation, for Lanesboro, Minnesota, our risk category is about 24.3%. So again, you can adjust what your action threshold is at. It automatically sets at 30%. But if you want, you can go ahead and bump that up or down. But again, it's the standard setting is at 30%. So right now, we're going to go back to the forecaster. And if you look at your field list, as you can see, you have several different fields located across the geography. For Spring Valley, another location is at 31%. The last time I ran this was on the 9th of July. We're going to go ahead and just hit this run model again. Now we got to hit flowers present. Row closure is over. Run model. And we're at about 31.1. So if we want to then see where our history is at, you can see here that we ran it on the 29th. And June 5, 7, 9, and you can see I actually ran this a little earlier today at that 31. So you can see even from yesterday to today, the risk went up by 1%. Secondly, then you can go back to the full field list, and down the bottom in the center, it'll show you can hit the map, and then you can see mapped across the geography your risk across the region. Again, if we zoom in, so this extreme southeast part of the state has a fairly high risk. Caledonia is at 41, Spring Valley, and so forth. So, and then you can look, where that Spring Valley location is, Lanesboro, and so on. All right, so from there we'll hit done again. Move back out to the Sportcaster. So again, that's generally the how you use this tool, fairly forward and straight and simple. And again, great opportunity to go through and figure out what your risk level is for each individual field over time in your particular geography.